Hi, my name's Vicky Lucas and I want to help you stop being a prisoner to your feelings. We're going to focus on understanding emotional regulation and help you live your best life so that you're not trapped being a prisoner in your feelings. So firstly, we've got to start at understanding what is emotional regulation. Well, emotional regulation is the ability to monitor, assess and influence your own emotional state. It helps us live healthier lives so that our reactions to stress, conflict and challenges are actually taken charge of and we don't become the prisoner to our emotions. Often we think that we can't control our emotions. Here's the thing, we can. But first we need to recognise what they are. We know that dysregulated emotions can lead to anxiety, anger, withdrawal, shame, disgust, and that's but just to name a few. So let's understand it in a bit more detail. I'm going to get a bit neurosciencey with you now. Don't panic, I'm going to keep this real easy for you to understand. So basically, according to Paul Gilbert, we have got 3 systems which help to emotionally regulate us, right? When we understand which each one does, we can then help move forward and stop allowing our emotions to hijack our brains and make us prisoners to ourselves. Let's start with the threat system. Here's what we know. When the threat system is turned on, we move into the flight, fight, freeze response. This is really important if we're in a life or death situation. And what we know is it helps to protect us and keep us alive. It's driven by fear and anxiety, and often we might go through many different emotions based on different experiences. It could be guilt, anger, shame, disgust, anxiety, depression, just to name but a few. Overall though, when we move into flight, fight or freeze response, we start to produce hormones called adrenaline and cortisol, which are great to get us out of a life or death situation. However, when we're not in a life or death situation, these hormones are feeding through our body, into our nerve endings, into our gut, all over the place. And what we know is that short term, it can lead to headaches, upset tummies, indigestion, headaches and migraines. More long term, we know that we can end up with more long term conditions such as insomnia, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, nerve pain, just to name but a few. When we've been exposed to lots of trauma, we will often be living our lives in threat, worrying about where the next danger is going to come from. And this is where we then start to find that our bodies keep the score and we start to feel bad. So any kind of worry that we have will create adrenaline and cortisol. And what we know is when they're being created to get us out of a perceived dangerous situation, we won't be producing serotonin, which is our brain's natural happy endorphin, so our antidepressant if you like. Okay, so let's move on to the drive system. The drive system is where motivation and achievement sits. Okay, so anything that we are striving towards or we want to achieve in any kind of way, once we've achieved it, we'll produce a hormone called dopamine, and it's insatiable. You get a little bit, you want a little bit more. You get a little bit, you want a little bit more. The problem is, dopamine is euphoria, And it is only short acting and short lived. And it's impossible to stay there permanently. Otherwise, our bodies just could not keep up. Anything that's a little bit naughty for us but makes us feel nice, we will produce dopamine. So you've heard the phrases sex, drugs, rock and roll. That will, but here's the thing, so will gaming, so will addictions of any description, nicotine, caffeine, certain foods, box sets. But the problem is, once we get to that point where we've produced so much dopamine we can't produce any more, we will move back into the threat system. So take for instance your favourite food. Just imagine taking the first bite. How does it make you feel? Or watching that first box set. Or your favourite YouTuber. How does it make you feel? It starts to make you feel nice. So you want a little bit more, you want a little bit more, and you want a little bit more. But then you start to move into a different space. Yeah? And that's because your dopamine is bottoming out. So what happens is we then move in to the threat system because you're catching up with yourself. And you're starting to then, it might be death scrolling on your phone or, being distracted by other things. And you'll then start to produce adrenaline and cortisol. Especially when you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't have eaten all that, or I drank too much, or whatever it was that was too naughty for you. But you're now starting to feel uncomfortable. So what goes on? Adrenaline and cortisol. So that will increase the discomfort that we feel in our bodies. And often we'll think we don't have a way of controlling this. Here's the thing, as I said before, we do. But the drive system is where we will feel excitement, okay? So let's move on to the safe, soothed and connected system. So this is where our bodies have the ability to produce a chemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin helps to calm and soothe us. Here's the thing, if we don't feel safe, we won't produce oxytocin. If we've been brought up in insecure attachments, we will probably have been living in threat, learning that the world isn't a safe place or that relationships aren't a safe place. What we know is in order to create oxytocin, we have to be present in the here and the now. So not stuck in the past, not stuck in the future, but here in the present. And it's a little bit like a piggy bank system. So when we can be present, we will top up the oxytocin levels. And we know that if we can produce, 10 minutes of mindfulness or being present in the moment, scientifically speaking, we will start to build up the piggy bank. And then when things do go wrong, we might not have such an overreaction, if you like. And what we know is when we are thinking about being connected to somebody and fully safe, so think about, the last time you had a brilliant hug, that moment, that will help create oxytocin. We know that mindfulness helps create oxytocin. We know that meditations help create oxytocin. And we also know that imagery work helps create oxytocin. I hope this recording's helped you understand your emotions and finally helps to start setting you free from being a prisoner to them. If you'd like to know more, do get in contact with us, either through the chat box here or contact us at lucaspsychotherapyconsultancy.uk. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.